Hello friends, welcome to Tech Minds. In this video, we are going to learn about how to make payment integration in our Android application. Now, if you are talking about payment integration, then we might think that it will be not so easy. It will be very difficult and complex to integrate in our Android application, but it's actually not. In this tutorial, I'll show you everything how we can integrate payment gateway in our Android application. So in this tutorial, we are using Stripe payment gateway. So why Stripe? So Stripe is very easy and convenient to use, and it has very developer friendly guide for us for the integration, which helps us with every step of our integration. And it also has an excellent support for our merchants, and we can accept card payment from the user from various major companies like Visa, Mastercard, American Express. And also in this payment gateway, we have very less thing to do from a server side and from Android side as well. It has a built-in SDK which we can integrate in our Android application, and it also provides a library. We are using a PHP for this server side development in this tutorial, and SDK is also provided so that we can easily just import the classes and use them. So let's turn towards our tutorial. So we will first see what we are going to build. So here we'll build a very simple app just with one button with a make payment, and after we click on this make payment, we will be presented with an action sheet which is uh, on which the UI is fully made by the Stripe SDK. We don't have to do anything for the UI specifically. And if we click on here, we'll be all get all this sheet, and we can just enter the dummy card test card number. Here they have here is the one of the number which they have mentioned on the website. So card number is there, and we can put expiry date and CVV, anything what we like, but it should be future date. CVV I am putting as 080, and you can select any country and just click on this button. I click here, it is processing here, and yes, payment is completed, and here we are getting message payment is completed. So this type of application we are going to build so that you will be able to customize it according to your requirements. So as we will be working with PHP, we have some prerequisites to be installed in our system. First one is a WAMP server. WAMP or XAMPP server, that is a local server which we need to in order to run the PHP scripts. So we can do the development in the local server. So I am using a WAMP server here. I already downloaded, and here is the web page from which you can download the WAMP server from here. You can just search a WAMP server, and I will also provide the download link in the description so that you can download the WAMP server from there. And second one is Composer. So it is a dependency manager for PHP. You can just go to this link getcomposer.org, or you can just you can just Google a Composer, and you will redirect to this website, and you also have to download this Composer so that we will be able to download the library which are provided by the Stripe payment gateway. So after you have downloaded the WAMP server, you are able to see here WAMP server icon. Just double click on it and just click on yes, and the WAMP server will start all the services including PHP and MySQL database. So we need the PHP, and it will be you will see this message all services are running, and then we are good to go. And for the Composer, I'll tell what to do for that. You will not observe any icon here for the Composer. We will need that while downloading the library of Stripe. Let's first step is to go to the Stripe page and register yourself as an individual developer. Stripe also has a benefit that it allows the individual developers to accept payments like other unlike other payment gateways which needs you have to be some uh, company in order to accept the payments, but in the Stripe it doesn't require. Individual support is there for the Stripe payment gateway. So let's move towards our server side coding. First of all, we need to create a one folder inside the special www directory which is provided by the WAMP server. So it will be presented C WAMP64 www. So in this directory we can just make a folder, and it will be like a website. So I'll create one folder here named payment tutorial, and it will be created, and it will be just like a website. And inside this there is nothing. So here we have to install the Stripe payment library. Here I have opened a web page of the documentation which provided by the Stripe payment gateway for our Android application. Here we can see setup Stripe. This is server side code, it is showing that. So here it is showing command line, install the PHP library with composer. So we just have to copy this command and open our cmd command prompt. Here we'll type, we'll first navigate to that directory cd pam64 www, and then tutorial, payment tutorial. Okay, we are inside that library which we have just created, and here we have to install the PHP library provided by the Stripe using the composer. So as we have already installed the composer, now we are able to directly hit the commands which we are provided here using the composer. So paste that command what we have copied here, just paste here and just press enter. It will be automatically download it from your internet and install it in your that folder. As we are seeing here installing, and it is installed. So let's check in the folder we have created, and yes, it is the same folder I am here. And here we are seeing some composer, composer.log, vendor, library, vendor, Stripe, and all the other libraries, all the other PHP files inside in this library. So we have come back to the Stripe docs, and here it is showing the client side code. So client side we will do it later. First we have to just scroll downwards, and here it has given a PHP code. So let's create one separate PHP file inside this folder. So I am using a Visual Studio Code ID. You can use any ID for the PHP, and copy this all code which we have been given and paste it. And we are naming that library as, make sure you are using the same directory, payment tutorial and payment fetch. Click on save, and yes, this is the main file which we will be trying to load at the very first when our application is initialized. Here in this library we have many things to modify. Inside this, here is a create, that is a customer, so we can just put a square bracket here, so it will be array of values, and we can just define some values of customers like name. I can define it as my name, Ashish, and here we can also enlist the email ID of the user. So I'll use test@example.com, and yes, you can add as many as fields as possible, and these fields will be visible to you in the Stripe dashboard once the user makes the successful payment, and you can see all these details of the user. So that's it for this file. And here let me just try to increase the font size. Okay, now it's good. So here we don't have to anything, and we just have to, here it is amount, that what amount we have to show to the user and what amount we have to deduct from the user. That is, here it is 1099, but it will be of it will be come as divided by 100, so it will be amount as 10.99 as I have just shown in the demo at the first place. So it will be price 10.99. So you can change the price here, and here is a currency, so I am changing it to INR. You can dynamically set this currency, or you can change according to the static value. So I am here setting as INR. Price I am keeping it as same 10.99. and here is a customer, so we don't have to do anything on that. And here is a JSON file. So what is actually a purpose of this file? So in this file we are getting two values in the Stripe from the Stripe payment gateway. One is a secret key which we will put here, and one is a publishable key which we will put here. So these are two separate files. So these are two separate keys which will uniquely identify our account. These are the demo keys for now, but in the production environment we have to use the production keys. So that will be separately provided by the Stripe payment gateway once your account is approved. And now we have to replace this with whatever the things we have got from the Stripe payment gateway. So we can just click here, API key for developers. Our API keys are loading. Here we can click on reveal test key. So here I can copy my secret key and paste it inside this. Okay, now I have to replace this key with the public one which you have been provided on the portal. Sorry, publishable key. I'll put it here. Okay, we are done. So what is the intention of this file is that once we hit the file, we get all these values in the JSON response as a payment intent, ephemeral key, customer, and publishable key. So it will be a customer ID and this is a publishable key. So all these things are there which we need in the initialization of the classes which are provided by the Stripe library. But it is not now what why we are not just storing these things in the if we need that in the initialization, why we are not storing this in the device itself. So it will be uh, more secure to store these keys in the server side and then fetch them whenever they are required instead of storing them all the time in the device. So let's open the browser and just click on localhost slash payment tutorial. This is the same folder which you have created, and here fetch payment.php. It is the same file which we are editing here. Okay, so here I have placed the enter, and this file has been loaded, and we are seeing here different values, payment intent and the ephemeral key and all the other things, and customer ID and other things, publishable key, which we are able to see here. So all these value will get, and these values will collect in our Android application, client application, and then we will use those to initialize the Stripe payment gateway classes, and then we'll make the payment by calling internally to the Stripe server, and that thing will be done by the SDK itself. Now that's the only things we have to do from a server side. Now let's go to the client side. So I have created a one Android application, very simple. It has only button here in the center which says make payment, and this is a Java, sorry, Kotlin file. And here I have just set the find web in on-click listener on that button, and nothing else I have done. And I have just set up the retrofit library because we will be using retrofit library to make the network calls to the our local server. So here I have just created a instance of that, and I have put a base URL as my local server which I have folder. And make sure that you are replacing this IP address with your own IP address so that it should work. And here is the interface I have created. So all the API calls will list out here. So if you are not comfortable with the retrofit, so I also have a separate tutorial for the retrofit library, so you can just check that out. I'll put that put the link in the description itself, so you can just first follow the retrofit library tutorial and then just come to this, so that it will be easier for you to understand. So here I am just creating a one method here, one fetch payment details, and it will return a response, but it should know what type of response it is. So that so we have to create a one data class here. For that, I'll create a new. I have this plugin Kotlin data class file from JSON. So I click on this one. So you can just install this plugin. It will be easier to make any data classes here. So we know that what we will be getting in the response. So we are copying all these details, and we can just paste those all here. We can just double quote these. Okay, it's not possible because all these values will be string, and we can just put a double quote here, so that data type will be recognized as a string. And I'll just put the curly braces here. Click on format, so those will be formatted. I'll name this as page payment details response. Remove the keyword page payment details response is fine, and I click on generate, and it will generate a separate data class. Let's have a look. Okay, our data class is ready, and we can just refer it here, payment details response. So this will be a get method. I'll annotate with it get here, and it need a endpoint, and we know that payment tutorial. After that, we have the endpoint as payment fetch.php. So that's it. We have set up our retrofit library, and we at first we as soon as we open our app and come to our home screen, we just have to make the API call to that fetch API details, so fetch payment details, so that all the keys will be fetched, and we will be ready with our payment acceptance process. So at first we will create a separate method, fetch payment details, and we'll create a separate method for that separate function. So in this function we can just initialize. So in this we have to use the coroutine uh, lifecycle scope dot launch, and we just for that I have added the dependencies for coroutine and retrofit library as well. So I also have separate series which explains everything about Kotlin coroutines, so you will get to know everything about coroutines in that. So we are inside the coroutine. So we'll write val response equals retrofit interface retrofit instance dot API dot fetch payment details, and we'll get the response here. So we'll wrap this up in the try catch block, so that if there will be any error, it will be catched in this block. Any type of exception we are doing, and if there is any exception, then we are using a toast this admin activity toast something went wrong. Okay, and here we'll first check for response. If response dot is successful and response dot body is not equals null, then only we'll proceed, and if it is null, then we will also show the same toast message but with some different text, like something wrong from server side. Okay, now here we have all done this, and we know that we'll getting the four values here. So we'll first see what will values will get. Customer ephemeral key payment intent customer, so that will be a customer ID equals to response dot body. We have to assert it as a not null, and then we are able to access the fields inside it. Customer, and there are 4 fields, so I am duplicating those. Customer ID, informal key, payment intent, sorry, and publishable key. Okay, now just change here, informal key, payment intent, and publishable key. Okay, now we have all the 4 values in our page from server and available in these variables. Now for the later steps, let's move to Stripe documentation, what it tells after that. Okay, at first we have to set up the dependency for the Stripe. This is the Stripe Android SDK. We have to integrate in that. So let's open build.gradle, and I have already integrated this Stripe Android SDK here. So you can just paste it here and just click on sync now, and after sync it will be integrated in your Android project. So you can access the inbuilt classes provided by Stripe library. Okay, let's again go to next steps, what it says. In the next step, it is saying that initialize a payment sheet instance inside concrete. Okay, here it is expecting that payment sheet instance, so we have to create this payment sheet instance here in our Android application. It is let init var property. So we can just click on alt enter to import the class payment sheet. Later see what it's saying. We have to initialize the payment sheet, put the payment sheet on payment result. So we'll come inside this on create, and for this call we'll put this statement payment sheet equals to payment sheet, and we have to create this on payment sheet result method. So this method will be triggered on the result of payment sheet. What is the result of the payment, that is the status. So you have to create this method. They have given this method here itself, so we'll copy this and we'll paste it here. Payment sheet result, we can again click on alt enter and import the class. Then what is saying, it is asking to uh, provide two more variables as a latent var. So we are just copying those and we are pasting those inside this. We'll separate here so that it will be identifiable. Customer config and payment intent client secret. Okay, these 2 fields they have asked and we have put them. After, they also have highlighted here what the new fields are, what new code we have to do. So as I have already said, the payment integration doc is very developer friendly and it is very convenient to check. So on this initialization, in this I am not going to use exactly like this. Instead I am just trying to guess, because they are using some separate library for the like github dot kitin kitunf, like something like that, for the http post and json response encoding. So as we are using retrofit library, we don't have to necessarily for all these steps. We can just here see that payment intent client secret equals to response json dot get string. So here in the onCreate itself they have done that. So but we have created a separate method for that. Page payment details. After this payment details are fetched, we can just paste here. The payment data client secret is the latent var property which we have created. Now we have to initialize that property here. Here we have already that property as a payment intent. So we can just refer to that property In other ways they are also doing the same thing, and we are doing the same thing. It's just a different way of doing. This way is more convenient and developer friendly. Now payment intent. Okay, we just have to initialize these fields from whatever the values we have got from the server side. So again, customer config, so they have created an object here of customer config. So paste that object here, copy and paste here, payment sheet dot customer configuration. So this accepts two things, customer and ephemeral key. So we already have those two as customer. It's a customer id, and second one is a ephemeral key, ephemeral key. Okay, and we can just close the bracket and just delete those. Okay, that one is initialized. Now let's see again. Publishable key is remaining still. So here they have provided two statements here. While publishable key equals response json.getString publishable key. So we'll rename this so from server. Okay, and we'll assign publishable key from server. We can directly assign all these right hand sides without specifically declaring this variable, and we can replace this customer id with directly this field, but I am just doing that in order to avoid the confusion. So we have initialized this one, and we have just copied this one, and publish key from server, payment configuration init. So we can just click alt enter here, payment configuration dot init. So we are initializing that, and it needs context. So this at the mean activity and publishable key, it is referring to this one. Okay, now we are done in whatever defined in this step. Let's go further. Further, they are explaining to make a separate method for present payment sheet. Once we click on the, so all doing all this at starting we are calling this. So what will happen at the start, this app will start, and we have created a fetch payment details method. So it will come here, it will try to make a network call, and here in the we'll get a response from all the keys what we are seeing here. So such response we will get, and it will be automatically decoded by the retrofit library, and we'll get all the values here, all the four values here, and we are using all these four values to initialize the things which you have defined and which are needed for the Stripe payment gateway to present the payment sheet to the user. And all these codes are of initialization. Okay, I hope that's clear. And then it is asking for present payment sheet, and when we click on button this button once you click on this make payment method, make payment button, then the present payment sheet should be presented to the user. So for that they have created separate method, and we are also creating a separate method. Main activity, just copy and paste that separate method. It is present payment sheet, and we'll just call this method from our on click listen of that button. Okay, so in this, so we can define any merchant name. It is not necessary that it should be something that is defined in your dashboard. We can define, but it should be same according to the uh, I mean our conventions. So we can just I just provide here techno points so that it should be identifiable by the user which merchant is accepting for payment. And here customer config, and here we don't need this parameter. We are just rubbing this, and yes, we are done with this one. And later inside. So up unto this flow, until this up to this flow, what will happen, the this API call will be done, all these things will be get initialized at the starting, and if we type on make payment, this payment sheet will be presented to the user. But what will happen after the user has done the payment? We also need to know if the user has made the payment successfully or cancelled the transaction or the transaction has failed. So how will we get these callbacks? So that there is one method for that, which you have already created here on payment sheet result. So it takes a parameter as payment sheet result, and here we'll get to know what the status of the payment. So they have also provided a sample code here. We are just copying those, paste it here. So when here is when condition is applied, so payment sheet is, result is cancelled when the payment is cancelled. If the payment sheet is user close the payment sheet, then the transaction has been cancelled, and it will be cancelled is got printed. And if the transaction is failed, then it will show at show stripe and what will the error here. And if the transaction is completed, then it will be completed will be printed. So we can just put some toast message here in order to see those things on the UI. This main activity payment cancelled, and we are copying the same toast message in the two places as well. Here is payment failed, and here will be payment successful or completed. Payment successful. Okay, after the user make the payment from the uh, payment sheet, we'll get to know its result here, and we are able to act on it according to whatever the status accordingly. And if we have to make some change in the server side, make some boolean flag like this is a paid user, make that paid user as a true, so we can do all these things inside this condition answer sorry completed. Now that's it. We have to do only these things, and our application is ready to accept the payment from the user. Yes, but two things we need to consider before launching our application. First thing, we have to include the internet permission in our manifest so that it should work, because internet will be required. And another one is, if we are using the local server, then we have to set this flag uses clear text traffic as true. It will allow to access the HTTP URLs. Without the S, without the secure layer, it allows to access these URLs. If you are not turning this flag on, then our app will not be able to uh, uh, reach the HTTP URL, which will be our local server. So these two are mandatory steps we have to do in order to experience hassle-free or Android application. So we can just our start to see how our application is working. So I have uninstalled my previous application, and now I am installing this application which we have made, and we will be able to make payment through this our application. Okay, my application has been started, and let me restart the application. And one thing, until this API call is not completed, we will not be able to click on this button. This button will do nothing. So in order to know us that this API call has finished, we are putting one toast message here. Page payment details completed. Okay, if we launch the application and it is opened, okay, it is showing that something went wrong. Let me check what is gone wrong. Let me check in the Okay, I have to use the suspend keyword here because the network are always suspended. I forgot to use the suspend here. So let me relaunch the app. Yes, now you can see fetch payment details completed. So that our application has all the API keys here, and all the API keys are here retrieved from the server, and all these things are initialized. Now we just click on make payment to present the user with the payment sheet. We can just click here, and yes, we are able to see the payment sheet, and we can just enter in test code number. Here they have declare that 4242 four times, so we'll be using that credit card number 42, and any expiry date is okay, and any CVV is also okay. We can select any country and we can just pay the amount. Is processing, and yes, our payment is completed and we are able to see the message payment successful. After that, what we have to do we can do inside this block. Our control has came inside this block and our statement has been executed. So the payment integration was that much simple. So in order to go to live and make the payments dynamic and other details, so what we can do that we can use get or post methods. Basically post method we use, and we can get the parameters from our Android application, and we can dynamically set your customer name here, email ID here, and amount is we can also set that here. And remember this takes to this amount is divided by 100. So if you put here 4 digits, so here 10.910 amount will be displayed, and we can dynamically change this amount which we can get from the client or a database, and we can set this here. We can set the currency dynamically here, and other details we don't need to change. So we can make a dynamic payment with these small modifications. So here uh, we have just made the transaction, and we can also see the transaction. So go to your dashboards and just click on billing, or I think no, you have to click on payments, I guess. Yeah, you have to click on payments, and we can see all the payments here. It is just a successful transaction we have created, and we can see the details here of the transactions and all these things. Customer email which we have set here, it is here, and customer name is here, and we'll be able to see all the transactions which are done here. So that's about how to integrate payment gateway in our Android application. I hope that is clear to you, because that documentation was self-explanatory, and I have tried my best to explain in a very simple and easy manner. Now try implementing payment gateway in one of your application and let me know if that works for you. And I have tried my best to explain. Still, if you have some doubts, then you can put your questions in the comment boxes below. I'll try my best to answer those. If you like this video, and if you think that this video helped you learn something different and useful, then please like, give us a thumbs up to this video, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so that you will not miss such more interesting and useful Android development videos. Till then, goodbye, happy coding. We'll meet in next tutorial. Bye.